This is News 8 Now, This Morning.
Acknowledging and reconciling with the fact that those churches were involved in cultural genocide is really important.
Under my plan, if you're a single filer making less than $100,000 or a married joint filer making less than $150,000, the cornerstone of my tax plan will cut your taxes by 10%.
So by finding this in a child, what we can do is offer testing to family members so that other family members can also find out that they have this condition and get the appropriate treatment.
It gets a student really practicing their skills of networking and talking with different employers and talking about why they'd be great for the opportunity.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for watching News 8 Now. I'm Dua Stark.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is February 16th, or as we like to call it on the morning show, Pre-Friday. And as we've been hearing, you know, it's been a busy week. We had a lot going on, you know, Super Bowl, Valentine's Day, lots of things. And going into the weekend, we've been hearing some pretty good news over the weather. So hopefully, Derek, that keeps up.
Yeah, you know, we may see some clouds here and there. In fact, some cloudy skies a little bit this weekend, but I think we're all going to enjoy what's to come as far as our temperatures go. And that is that we are expected to warm up here a little bit above average as we head into Saturday and Sunday. And we'll get to those details here in just a bit. But I do want to show you what's going on first, though. Right now, you can see some of those cloudy weather conditions moving in from the south out ahead of some snowy weather. Now, not to worry, not everybody is going to see snow today. It's mainly going to be focused to the south, but you can see the majority of that snow is focused across portions, or at least really the majority of Iowa now, we can say over the last couple of hours or so, as more has developed associated with this trough of low pressure that we are watching position just off to the south of us, and that system is expected to track northeast and very close to us. That could allow for a very slight chance of snow to occur in portions of the La Crosse area, but for the most part, everyone is going to be pretty cloudy nonetheless, whether you see snow or not, with temperatures into the 20s to low 30s. Low 30s, better chance of that to come this afternoon. And again, we expect conditions to kind of remain cool here over the next couple of days before we start to see a warm up as we head into the weekend. And we'll talk more about that coming up in the weather forecast. Dua?
All right, thanks, Derek. Well, let's get to some news this morning. The University of Wisconsin system will ban TikTok from all university devices by tomorrow. The director of UW Eau Claire's Technology Services team announced the news in a campus email. The ban will not include personal phones and other devices. A UW La Crosse spokesperson says all UWL employees have been directed to uninstall the app. UWL IT will also block installations of the app. The change comes after Governor Tony Evers banned TikTok from all state-issued devices. Organizers at La Crosse's English Lutheran Church hosted a presentation on the painful history of Native American boarding schools and church missions in Wisconsin. An associate professor of history at Luther College shared her research about how Bethany Indian mission officials in 1938 stripped Ho-Chunk children of their culture and the Ho-Chunk protests that followed. She says acknowledging difficult history is something that needs to happen.
Acknowledging and reconciling with the fact that those churches were involved in cultural genocide is really important.
She says a presentation like this can help increase awareness and encourages those that are interested to seek additional resources to become more informed. The city of La Crosse will close Houska Park to the public starting March 15th for a massive cleanup effort. According to the mayor's office, the decision was made due to health and safety concerns. An eviction notice was posted Wednesday, and a 2-week notice will be posted March 1st, and a 48 notice will be posted on March 13th. The city will get rid of anything hazardous they find by the 15th and store other property for 30 days. There is no charge for claiming property, and you can do so by going to City Hall or calling the number on your screen. The mayor's office said Houska Park will not be relicensed as a campground, but again, that's not an official decision yet. The Harry J. Olson Senior Center is helping unite people in the community. At yesterday's second ever Wednesdays for Lunch, over 40 seniors got to enjoy a free lunch and blood pressure checks. After buying the center from the city for $1, the center's executive director says it's important for the center to develop a routine for those in need of a sense of community.
It's some people that have been reticent to come in because of the impasse with the city, or are they open, are they closed? Well, now they can see that we're open and we're ready to have everybody come.
The next lunch is scheduled on March 15th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We posted a link with more information on our website. Well, some area kids are working to make play possible for everyone. A few weeks ago, 4 fifth graders at State Road Elementary pitched the idea of an all-abilities playground at La Crosse Soup event. That's where they won the money to get that project started, and now the project is kicking off. But as News 8 Now's Emily Haugen reports, they still need your help to give more kids the freedom to play.
Being a kid means freedom to play. Recess gives 9-year-old Finley Weber that freedom.
My favorite thing to do at recess is playing with my friends.
Finley uses a wheelchair, so his recess at State Road Elementary looks different.
3,
Right now,
2, 1, go!
it's a lot of racing. Finley's mom, Emily, says their family is new to State Road Elementary.
I'm sure he'd like to be able to get on the actual equipment and be a part of that play too. He just hasn't been able to, so he adapts in other ways.
On the playground, the school district installed a swing and a ramp Finley could use, but still his options are limited.
It's not fair that other kids get to play on the playground.
4 State Road 5th graders notice those limits.
And he gets all dressed up in his winter gear, but all he can do is roll on the pavement and not play on any playground equipment. So we want to make playground equipment that he can play on.
The girls won a grant to bring accessible equipment to their school.
Lots of kids like to play with Finley, and it's not just for Finley, everyone can play on it.
As Finley's mom, Emily is grateful for their empathy.
They were able to imagine probably what his recess is like, and they wanted to change that for him and for other kids. So
She's also thankful for their friendship.
Let's go!
getting to play with tons of kids like him and not like him has just been, it went from being something scary to me to being something so incredible to witness.
A space that could include all kids for years to come.
The money raised is helping the school buy special instruments and monkey bars that can be used by kids in a wheelchair. Now, these kids got the ball rolling, but the school still needs your help. So we have posted more information on how you can donate, and that's at news8000.com. A local career fair is preparing dozens of students for a future in construction. Western Technical College hosted a construction and apprenticeship career fair. Nearly 60 students arrived within the first 15 minutes. Organizers say Wednesday's event was a great way to connect students with job opportunities and a chance for students to learn a very important life skill.
It gets a student really practicing their skills of networking and talking with different employers and talking about why they'd be great for the opportunity.
Wednesday's fair also included resume help and counseling. Well, still ahead on your morning news, we'll explain why a classic internet browser is no longer working on your desktop, and why now might be a good time to buy a used car, especially over a new one. That and more is coming up this morning, but for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. NBA legend Michael Jordan turns the big 6-0 tomorrow, and he's celebrating his birthday by giving a very generous gift to a nonprofit that supports children with critical illnesses. That gift is $10 million. It's the largest given by an individual in Make-A-Wish Foundation's 43-year history. Jordan has been working with Make-A-Wish for more than 3 decades. In 2008, he was named Make-A-Wish Chief Wish Ambassador. Well, don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. We are watching cloudy skies moving in from the south, even a little bit of some light snow just south of the Prairie du Chien area moving north. And some of that snow may begin to affect portions of our southern communities in just a bit. Get to that a little bit later, but you can see a little bit of some light snow for portions of the area in La Crosse County, but better chances of seeing snow with temperatures in the 20s down south here today. 27 today if you're in Soldiers Cove. Meanwhile, back to the north central zones today, 25 in Blair, 26 in Melrose, and across our northern zones, we're looking at highs today into the low 20s with very low snow chances here, probably not even existing because, again, the majority will be focused down to the south here today. 23 degrees, cloudy skies here for the bus stop forecast as you get ready to head out there. And then on the way back, we should be looking at temperatures slightly warmer than that, up to 29 degrees. With cloudy skies still remaining overhead. Dog walking conditions do look good here this morning. Cloudy skies out there. Those clouds will continue into the afternoon, also into the evening hours. And again, some of us tapping into some of that light snow, mainly focused to the south. We're going to get to those details coming up in the full weather forecast.
Nissan is recalling more than 400,000 SUVs, vans, and pickups in the U.S. It says the logo on their steering wheels can detach or break apart when the airbag inflates and can injure the driver. Nissan says there have been 4 injuries allegedly linked to the issues. The pickups involved are 2008 through 2011 Nissan Titan and Frontier models, and SUV models the Xterra, Pathfinder, and Armada. The minivans are 2008 and 2009 Quest. Egg prices are still going up at the grocery store. In fact, in January, eggs were 8.5% more expensive than in December, despite being lower than early 2022. That's according to government inflation data that was released on Tuesday. A deadly avian flu outbreak is partly to blame for the high cost of eggs, but some egg producers are still earning high profits, sparking demands for a federal investigation into possible price gouging. Unlike many on Valentine's Day, Tuesday was not a happy day for fans of Internet Explorer, as Microsoft announced it has officially disabled Internet Explorer 11. Internet Explorer debuted in 1995 and at one point dominated the market. Now users who click on the icon are being redirected to Microsoft Edge. I remember when I first started using the internet, that was the only internet browser available. How times have changed. Well, good news for those looking to buy a used car. Prices are falling, but that's not the case for new cars. Cole Higgins has the details on what's behind the price swings and why your insurance premium might be going up.
After years of low inventory and soaring prices, the cost of a used car fell nearly 2% in January, according to the Consumer Price Index. And data from Edmunds shows the average price of a used car in December was down $1,600, costing consumers about $29,533. If you're looking to take advantage of the drop, experts say do your research first.
Being mindful and also being conscious of the vehicle and trying to get an extensive history of that vehicle is probably most important.
Experts say higher interest rates are making it more expensive to finance a car purchase, which is limiting demand. An increase in the supply of critical parts like computer chips is also pushing down prices, and President Joe Biden has pushed to expand chip manufacturing at home to prevent future shortages.
We're opening factories in your states to build semiconductor chips and electric vehicles and advanced batteries that's going to power those vehicles.
When it comes to new cars, prices rose 0.2% in January and were up 5.8% year over year, the Consumer Price Index shows. And car insurance premiums are also climbing. According to Bankrate's annual True Cost of Auto Insurance report, the average cost of full coverage insurance has reached more than $2,000 a year nationally. That figure is up nearly 14% from last year. Bankrate says years of high inflation resulting from labor and part shortages drove up the cost of insurance claims for car repairs. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Experts recommend you do your research before buying a car, as used cars are now near the price of a new car. Well, that's it for your consumer news. Let's check in with Derek and get today's forecast.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Dua. Sure is a little bit of a cloudy start outside here this morning. We'll be able to see that once the sun rises, but temperatures right now in Eau Claire, some of the colder spots at around 18 degrees for those of you up north. Meanwhile, further down to the south, like areas like Winona, you're currently at 21. La Crosse, maybe a degree warmer than that at 22 degrees with those northerly winds there in place. Skies will continue to remain cloudy all throughout the day. Temperatures warm up to about 28 degrees by 4, and then just like that, we drop right back down into the low 20s as we head into the early evening hours. And we're watching those increasing clouds again moving in from the south. Notice the snow showers here not too far away from us, but if we widen out the view, we can see exactly where they're located, mainly across Iowa and even down towards further down towards the south. This activity is moving in our general direction, and we do expect possibly a little bit of some light snow for portions of our southern parts of the viewing area, which we'll get to here in a second. This is all associated with this low pressure system, though, that we are watching position directly south of La Crosse, as a matter of fact, and this system is tracking towards the northeast, and as long as it continues to kind of stay away from us on more of an east to northeasterly trajectory, that is going to allow most of that snow here to remain well off to our south today. In fact, you'll see that on Sky Tracker. Notice how only our southern communities will be looking at some snow here as we get into the late morning hours. Now, by the early afternoon, it is possible that we could see a little bit more here, and some of that may just clip around the La Crosse area here too by the early afternoon. But then by around 2 o'clock, we start to drop those snow chances, if anything, here for the La Crosse area, while most of that snow will be focused mainly to our south and east. And then I do expect everything to come to a close starting around 5 o'clock. As you can see, just around the eastern to southeastern parts of our viewing area, looking at a little bit of some light snow before it really all comes to a close by around 8 o'clock tonight. And then we're just left over with mainly cloudy skies. Notice the clouds beginning to diminish, though, as we head into the overnight hours. Now, it only looks like that we may only see around 1 to 2 inches with locally higher totals further towards the south that you go, even across south central Wisconsin and east central and eastern Wisconsin. Probably will see the majority of this as the system continues to track towards the east and really affect portions of Michigan and the upper Great Lakes. We'll be on the backside here by tonight, so we'll be looking at some cooler air moving through before we start to see a change in temperatures. Yeah, we got mild air moving in from the southwest as we'll be on the northern side of this high and just out ahead of this cold front here too, which will give us a southwesterly wind for us to work with as we head into the weekend. And that's going to allow temperatures to warm up into the upper 30s on Saturday and the low 40s on Sunday. And in fact, we won't be too far from 40 on Monday too for the high. Same really can be said for Tuesday, but we are watching mid to late next week for cooler temperatures and good chances of snow. Stay with us though. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We are taking a quick break though with a look at what happened on this day in history for February 16th. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Blitz. The UWL men's basketball team closing out the regular season last night at home. Eagles are in good shape in the conference as they gear up for the WIAC tournament next week, but just one more test on the slate before that tourney begins. It was senior night at Mitchell Hall. Black River Falls grad Ethan Anderson playing his final regular season game as an Eagle. Pick it up first half. Some of the other seniors on the squad coming out hot. First, it's Craig Steele knocking down the three, and how about Henry Noon from the top of the key? Eagles go up 7 early. River Falls trying to keep pace. Jack Leifker in the paint puts it in. Falcons cut it back to 5, but the Eagles start flying away. Max Siebert from way downtown, count it. La Crosse extends the lead to 8. Then look at this connection. Torrin Hanna to Dustin DeRusso for the deuce. Eagles go up double digits, and they kept their foot on the gas all night long. Steele again, this time step back corner 3. 13-point lead. And here comes the former Tiger. Anderson in the post putting in 2 more. 15-point lead for the home team. And how about one more for the senior? Steele with 3 from downtown in the first half. He finished with 11 points on the night. Anderson chipping in with 7 points of his own. There's 2 of them right there. Eagles close out the regular season with the win, 74-61 the final. UWL gets a first-round bye in the WIAC tournament. Eagles are back at Mitchell Hall next Wednesday to host their semifinal matchup. The UWL women's team also closing out its regular season last night with the win, Eagles take down River Falls 62-43 on the road. Aquinas grad Kaya Steiner with the game-high 19 points in the win. La Crosse will get the 5 seed in the WIAC tournament. Eagles will play their first-round matchup in Oshkosh next Tuesday against the Titans. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
Breaking overnight yesterday as the community of Michigan State University mourned the loss of 3 students killed on Monday, Texas police responded to a shooting at the Cella Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas. Authorities say at least 1 person is dead and at least 3 others are injured. Police also have 2 suspects in custody. The mall is right next to a Walmart where a shooting in 2019 killed 23 people. Disturbing new details about the accused Michigan State University shooter and what authorities say they found in his backpack. According to a source familiar with the investigation, Anthony Dwayne McRae had a list of targets, including an employment agency, a discount store, a church, and a fast food restaurant. The note states that McRae is the leader of a group of 20 killers, saying that he will be shooting up MSU and that another team will, quote, finish off the city of Lansing. Authorities have alerted the businesses named in the letter, but said there is no credibility in his claims of being the leader of any team. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers shared his state budget proposal to the state legislature in Madison, once again calling to increase resources and funding for education and local governments. With a nearly $7 billion surplus, Evers is calling for more than $1 billion in tax cuts for the middle class, saying it's needed relief for working families.
Under my plan, if you're a single filer making less than $100,000 or a married joint filer making less than $150,000, the cornerstone of my tax plan will cut your taxes by 10%.
Governor Evers also confirmed a plan to fund local governments that he spoke about in his State of the State last month. He called for 20% of the state's sales tax revenue to be sent to local communities for shared revenue.
I'm excited to share that our budget includes that proposal. I don't care where it came from, providing more than $500 million more per year in new resources to invest in key priorities like public safety. We have to get this done, folks.
It's an idea that's been floated by Republicans as well, but has seen previous budget cuts or restrictions. In the last election, the Cooley region saw multiple public safety referendums, with more communities expected to do the same in efforts to fund police departments, fire departments, and EMS. 96th Representative Lauren Oldenburg says his voters have been most concerned with shared revenue declining.
If we address the shared revenue, I think it'll go down to other parts, say in the county government, they will get funded because they don't have to fund certain. They have more dollars to do that part of it.
He also said the legislature will propose even more tax cuts for Wisconsinites, saying their tax cuts would not primarily be focused on the middle class. Oldenburg added that Evers' plan to increase public education is one that will be addressed in the legislature. 95th Assembly District Representative Jill Billings says Evers' plans to increase mental health resources in schools comes at an important time.
I think that's a model that really works. We've done some of that in some of our schools, but certainly more needs to be done.
The Republican-controlled legislature will now work on a budget proposal and eventually send it to the governor. A bill in the Wisconsin legislature hopes to stop government officials from delaying the release of public records. State Republicans introduced the bill that says requesters could collect attorney fees if the documents are handed over after a lawsuit is filed. The bill could potentially overturn a Wisconsin Supreme Court decision that doesn't allow attorney fee collection. Wisconsin's public records law requires government officials to provide requested records as soon as practicable and without delay. After constant criticism of early voting, former President Trump is now having a change of heart. A campaign email sent out says his path forward is to, quote, master the Democrats' own game of harvesting ballots in every state we can. Ballot harvesting refers to the legal processes of absentee and mail-in voting. It's a significant shift as Trump and other Republicans, even in Wisconsin, were against the use of ballot drop boxes, which the state Supreme Court eventually shut down before the last election. Well, let's switch over to your Thursday morning medical news. The opioid overdose antidote Narcan could soon be sold over the counter as a nasal spray. 2 FDA advisory committees on Wednesday voted in favor of making the spray available over the counter to increase access. Research shows a wider availability of Narcan could save lives, as opioid overdose deaths have reached record numbers. The over-the-counter nasal spray version of Narcan is designed to be used by people without any medical training. Full approval could come as early as this year. High cholesterol is often thought as an adult health issue, but it's just as common in kids. According to the CDC, 1 in 5 children have abnormally high cholesterol levels. High cholesterol can increase the risk of heart disease, but can easily be lowered with lifestyle changes. UW Health doctors say it's important to get your child screened for high cholesterol because it can help stop the problem before it gets worse.
So by finding this in the child, what we can do is offer testing to family members so that other family members can also find out that they have this condition and get the appropriate treatment.
Kids often show no signs or symptoms of high cholesterol. Peterson says kids ages 9 through 11 and 17 through 21 should get their cholesterol levels checked. Well, it's been almost a year since the Uvalde shooting at Robb Elementary School, but the conversations around safety for kids at schools continues. A local tech company in Madison wants to bring some of that security many are looking for to area schools. Talil Mohedin joins us with a walkthrough on how it works.
So I am a first-time visitor trying to check into this location
to get a good idea who's coming and going.
Where increasingly people are looking at a more secure environment.
The folks at Single Wire Software say their technology can help better keep students and staff safe at local schools.
So it's going to ask for a photo of my license.
Going beyond locking the front door and office check-in, Visitor Aware uses IDs and facial recognition to check sexual predator databases, FBI watch lists, and court orders across all 50 states. If it comes back clean,
automatically prints a badge for me.
But should a user be flagged, administrators get alerted immediately.
It gives all the information so you're able to confirm that this person is in fact not allowed in the building.
There's an overarching responsibility that all organizations have, which is duty of care. And that duty of care is actually a legal doctrine that says I, as a business owner, need to make sure that I keep my people safe.
Company founder and CEO Paul Shane started in tech over 20 years ago, so he knows how useful it can be in critical situations to get information out quick.
And an event can be lots of different things. It can be a severe weather, it could be a chemical spill in a manufacturing plant, it could be all the way up to active shooter types of situations.
He says when it comes to safety in schools, Visitor Aware's simplicity makes it unique, but admits it doesn't make front desk staff or security obsolete.
There's always a human component. This helps do the screening, but someone's got to sort of deal with the situation and either say, yep, you're free to go into the building, or no, we need to have a further discussion with you.
Verona schools currently have a similar software to Visitor Aware set up throughout the district. The company leaders say the technology is not limited to schools, but can also be used in places like long-term care facilities. Well, the warm days and record rainfall also created ponds around the Twin Cities. Where will all that water go, and what does that mean for spring? WCCO's meteorologist Joseph James shows us where that water is headed.
A touch of green.
I'm just ready for spring and flowers and a little more green.
In the form of exposed grass. But there's still plenty of white on the ground. And more than a drop in a bucket of water running the ground out here. Tanya Maz isn't quite keen on the liquid precipitation.
I'm less into the rain, to be honest with you. If it's going to precipitate, let it snow.
But she's ready for the water to help fill up the wetlands near her home. Pete Boulay, climatologist at the Department of Natural Resources, says all this water has found a spot.
You can clump it. So there's a lot of water in that.
In the ground.
It went right through the snowpack,
and there's little frost under that snowpack, so basically it percolated right in the ground.
Which means the record rainfall from Valentine's Day doesn't necessarily mean more trouble come spring.
We still got 6 more weeks of winter, basically, so we'll find out what happens rest of February into March. So, you know, a lot can happen, you know, from between now and then.
Joseph James says the extended forecast looks like winter will make a comeback next week with cooler temperatures and possibly snow, and Derek may confirm that in just a few moments.
Yeah, that's right, Dua. We will be looking at some slight chances of snow here moving in for portions of our southern areas come later this morning into the afternoon. We'll get to that in a little bit, but temperatures right now in La Crosse are at 22 degrees. We are feeling like 13, though, when you factor in north-northwest winds, only around 7 miles an hour. Really, that's all it takes. So we got cloudy skies in the forecast here throughout the rest of the morning. A slight chance of snow is possible late this morning and also into the early parts of the afternoon for La Crosse, but again, better chances will exist. Mainly down to the south. Our highs today around 30 degrees with cloudy skies overhead. And again, that snow here mainly south, north winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. And for tonight, temperatures drop down to 10, which, believe it or not, is more seasonable though for this time of the year. Partly cloudy skies, north-northwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Your drivecast this morning, cloudy. That will continue here for your mid-commute. Cloudy skies will continue as we head into your evening commute hours as well, while some locations down to the south here early to midday could be looking at some snow, which we'll talk about coming up in the full weather forecast, but also coming up in our Buzz Report, the famous director who turned down a magical movie franchise. We'll talk about that. We'll be right back. Well, it sure is a very cloudy start outside this morning as we take a live look there from City Cam 8 behind me. Current temperatures in Eau Claire at 18 degrees. You're one of the cold spots out there now. Meanwhile, Winona to the south at 23 degrees, and La Crosse is coming in now at 22 degrees here this morning. Temperatures are expected to warm up to about 25 degrees at noon today, followed by 28 degrees at 4 o'clock. So many spots will be below 30 today, it looks like, and then 23 as we head into this evening underneath those cloudy skies, which are, by the way, beginning to move in now from the south. A little bit of some light snow here across portions of the southern parts of the viewing area, and there's a lot more where that came from back to our south and southwest, and this is all associated with this strong low pressure system that we are watching positioned directly south of us here, now located here across south central Missouri, and this system is expected to move towards the northeast in a general fashion and also keep most of the snow here mainly to our south. But again, there is a chance that some of us could be looking at some of that snow, mainly focused along our southern communities here as we reach around the 9 o'clock. The northern fringe of that snow associated with that low could reach some of us. So we're talking areas like Viroqua, Prairie du Chien, and Boscobel. And then some of that may drift a little further towards the north as we get closer towards the noon hour and kind of affect portions of the La Crosse and Monroe County areas here as well. Around the 2 o'clock hour, some of us even still dealing with some of that light snow, but it's again mainly focused down to the south and also towards the east, while the rest of us will just be looking at mainly cloudy skies here today and cooler temperatures, which, by the way, that will continue really throughout the day here too. And then we can say goodbye to the snow here for the most part as we reach those later afternoon hours, and especially as we head into this evening. Now, those clouds are expected to diminish as we head towards the overnight hours tonight and also into early tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow will be a lot less cloudy and we'll see more sunshine. Now, as far as how much snow we could see, about 1 to 2 inches here can generally be said, but there is some locally higher totals that can be said closer towards the Boscobel and Prairie du Chien areas where 2 to 4 inches could be said, but leaning more so towards those lower ends. Now, after this system exits the area, we'll be on the back side, so we'll be turning a little bit cooler here as we head into tonight. And then here's what's happening next. We're watching high pressure here that will build here to our south, and that is going to give us a southwest wind motion out ahead of this cold front here too. So we're going to be looking at some much more milder temperatures as a result of this setup here come this weekend. And as a matter of fact, our highs will reach the upper 30s on Saturday, followed by the low 40s even on Sunday. And we look to be very similar to that into early next week on Monday, even pretty close to that once again on Tuesday. We'll be watching out for a good chance of snow, though, come mid to late next week as our next storm system closes in. And in our Buzz Report this morning, we get our first look at Lady Gaga
in the Joker sequel. Her and director Todd Phillips shared this image on social media, the caption reading, "Happy Valentine's Day." Gaga is believed to be playing Harley Quinn. In the photo here, she is seen with her hands wrapped around Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. The sequel is titled Joker Folie à Deux and is described as a musical. It's set to hit theaters in October of 2024. Well, a certain Wizarding World might have looked very different on screen. Steven Spielberg kicked off 2 major film franchises, Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park, but turned down a 3rd, Harry Potter. Spielberg said that he and his wife had just started a family when he got the offer, which would have meant spending months filming in London, so he declined that offer. He added that he has no regrets turning it down in order to be with his family.
One day you came back. The past came back too.
There may have been a time when Damien had your back.
No friends in the industry.
But that's not what he's doing now.
Jonathan Majors looks even more dangerous in the final trailer for Creed 3. He plays an ex-con with nothing to lose and a score to settle with Michael B. Jordan's Adonis Creed. Creed 3 opens in theaters March 3rd. So, Derek, I heard that you're a big Creed fan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. I think I've seen, I know we were having some mic issues there, but I know we were talking earlier too that we're talking about the Creed movies. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This one looks really good, so.
And you've seen most of the Rocky movies?
Yeah, I have. So yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what this one kind of brings.
I really liked the first one. I liked the transition from, that rivalry in Rocky and then moving it into a new generation with Creed.
Right.
My dad loves the Rocky movies.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Well, before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
That's right. We do want to wish a happy 8 months to Noelle. And this time, do we have their picture this time? Well, we're going to try and work on that, I guess. But no, there she is. She enjoys being able to keep up with her big brother, Maverick.
And happy 8 months to Camilla. Camilla loves to jump, walk, help her mom, and loves her mom.
All right, well, if you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we love to feature them. All you have to do is upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for that Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Well, stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers shared his state budget proposal to the state legislature in Madison, once again calling to increase resources and funding for education and local governments. With a nearly $7 billion surplus, Evers is calling for more than $1 billion in tax cuts for the middle class, saying it's needed relief for working families. Governor Tony Evers also confirmed a plan to fund local governments that he spoke about in his State of the State last month. He called for 20% of the state sales tax revenue to be sent to local communities for shared revenue. The city of La Crosse will close Houska Park to the public starting March 15th for a massive cleanup effort. According to the mayor's office, the decision was made due to health and safety concerns. An eviction notice was posted Wednesday, and a 2-week notice will be posted March 1st, followed by a 48-hour notice on March 13th. The city will get rid of anything hazardous that they find by the 15th and store other property for 30 days. There is no charge for claiming property, and you can do so by going to City Hall or calling the number on your screen. The mayor's office said Houska Park will not be relicensed as a campground, but that's not an official decision yet. Organizers at La Crosse's English Lutheran Church hosted a presentation on the painful history of Native American boarding schools and church missions in Wisconsin. An associate professor of history at Luther College shared her research about how Bethany Indian mission officials in 1938 stripped Ho-Chunk children of their culture and the Ho-Chunk protests that followed. She says acknowledging difficult history is something that needs to happen.
Acknowledging and reconciling with the fact that those churches were involved in cultural genocide is really important.
She says a presentation like this helps increase awareness and encourages those that are interested to seek more resources and become informed. The Harry J. Olson Senior Center is helping unite people in the community. At yesterday's second ever Wednesdays for Lunch, over 40 seniors got to enjoy a free lunch and blood pressure checks. After buying the center from the city for $1, the center's executive director says it's important for the center to develop a routine for those who are in need of a community.
It's some people that have been reticent to come in because of the impasse with the city, or are they open, are they closed? Well, now they can see that we're open and we're ready to have everybody come.
The next lunch is scheduled on March 15th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We posted a link with more information on our website. A local career fair is preparing dozens of students for a future in construction. Western Technical College hosted a construction and apprenticeship career fair. Nearly 60 students arrived within the first 15 minutes. Organizers say Wednesday's event was a great way to connect students with job opportunities and a chance for students to learn a very important life skill.
It gets a student really practicing their skills of networking and talking with different employers and talking about why they'd be great for the opportunity.
Wednesday's fair also included resume help and counseling.
All right, as you head out the door this morning, temperatures are into the 20s, some of us even as cold as the upper teens, mainly towards the north near Eau Claire. But we are going to be looking at those cloudy skies really throughout the day. There is a slight chance that some of us could see some snow, mainly down to the south, though, with highs near about 30 degrees later this afternoon. As far as your 8-day forecast goes, we will be looking at yet another cool day for tomorrow, the high of 29. Warmer on Saturday, 37, even warmer than that on Sunday with a high of 42. Similar conditions to that even into early next week before we start to see cooler conditions move in mid to late next week with even better chances of snow. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for later in the forecast, but overall, not too bad out there.
All right, well, for all of you at home, I asked Derek what his hobby was, and he said hurricane chasing, and that's what you might have heard on air right before we got on air. I said Derek needs a new hobby.
Hey, I mean, this is just a full-blown weather nerd that you're working with here, Dua.
All right, so I need our viewers to come up with a list of hobbies that we can potentially direct Derek to, so even work is not
But see,
his hobby.
they know that I love hurricanes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for watching News 8 Now this morning. We'll see you back here later at noon, and for our evening shows, we hope you have a great Thursday.